AITA for refusing to cook in our kitchen because my wife decorated it? My wife, 35F, and I, 37M, bought our first house together 2 years ago. It was a huge milestone for us. We'd been living in a small apartment before, and while it was fine for what we needed at the time, we both dreamed of having a home that really felt like ours. When we started house hunting, my wife had a very detailed vision in mind. She wanted a big backyard with space for a garden, a soaking tub and a master bath, high ceilings, lots of natural light. The list went on. She had been saving Pinterest boards for years, and I knew that when we found the right house, she'd be the one leading the charge on the aesthetic. Me? I had exactly one request: a good kitchen. I've been cooking my whole life. It's more than just a chore to me, it's how I unwind. After a long day, there's nothing better than turning on some music, prepping fresh ingredients, and making a great meal from scratch. I cook all the meals in our household, and I genuinely enjoy it. I needed a kitchen that was functional, with plenty of counter space, good lighting, and enough room to move around comfortably. We finally found a house that checked every single one of our boxes, and more importantly, had an amazing kitchen. Spacious but not excessive, a large central island, great storage, and the perfect layout for how I like to work. It was a dream kitchen for me. The first year in the house was great. My wife slowly decorated each room, and I let her take full control of that. She picked out furniture, paint colors, wall art, rugs, you name it. We both contributed financially, and while I had some input here and there, I mostly trusted her vision. She has great taste, and the house truly turned into a beautiful, cozy space that felt like home. But then, she turned her attention to the kitchen. At first, I was open to it. It was the only room she hadn't really personalized, and I got why that felt incomplete to her. I figured she'd add some nice touches, maybe some new dish towels, a fruit bowl, or some decorative canisters. That's not what happened. What had happened was that she started bringing home random decorative junk every single day. It started small, some fake fruit in a basket, a few oversized ceramic jars labeled flour, sugar, and coffee, which would have been fine, except we don't bake and we don't drink coffee. Then came the wooden blocks with sweet phrases like "this kitchen is seasoned with love" and "happiness is homemade." Then the situation escalated. She bought a wine rack, we don't drink. She brought home an espresso machine. Again, we don't drink coffee. She got these weird vinegar decanters filled with glittery liquid, and when I asked what they were, she admitted they were just for aesthetic. The worst of it? She rearranged everything. One night, I walked into the kitchen and immediately knew something was off. My toaster oven, which I use 3 times a day, was gone. I finally found it stuffed inside a cabinet, completely unplugged. My butcher's block, the one thing I use every single time I cook, had been relocated on top of the fridge, which, in case you were wondering, is about 6 inches higher than I can comfortably reach. In its place, a full-blown tea set, a serving tray for delicate little teacups, a fancy kettle, the whole 9 yards. We have never in our lives had afternoon tea. I stood there in stunned silence for a good 30 seconds before finally calling out to her. "A babe." She walked in all smiles. "Do you like it?" I blinked. "Where's my toaster oven?" "Oh, I put it in the cabinet to make more counter space." I turned and gestured at the massive tea set, taking up prime real estate. "More counter space for what?" She beamed. "Isn't it cute?" That was the beginning of the end. I told her as calmly as I could that this wasn't going to work. The kitchen is the one place in the house that I actively use every single day, and I needed it to be functional. She waved me off. "You'll get used to it." "No," I said. "I won't." She laughed a little like I was overreacting. "It's just a few changes." "It's a dozen changes," I corrected her. "And every single one of them makes cooking harder." She sighed. "You don't like how it looks?" I pinched the bridge of my nose. "I don't like that I have to play a game of kitchen Tetris every time I want to make a sandwich." That's when the tears started. She accused me of being controlling. She said I was acting like I owned the kitchen and that just because I use it more doesn't mean I get to dictate everything. I pointed out that in every other room of the house, I had deferred to her. The kitchen was the one space where I needed practicality over aesthetics. But she wouldn't budge. After an hour of going in circles, she ended the conversation by saying, "You'll just have to get used to it." So I made a decision. For the past 2 months, I have barely cooked. Instead of making meals every day, I cook everything in bulk once a week. I roast trays of chicken and fish, boil rice and potatoes, prep vegetables, and store everything in the fridge. When I'm hungry, I just reheat portions. It's not ideal, but it means I don't have to navigate the obstacle course that my kitchen has become. I offered to share my meal preps with my wife. She refused. She doesn't like leftovers. At first, she was fine with eating out, but then she started realizing she was spending way too much money on takeout. She was wasting hours in drive-through lines. She was gaining weight and feeling sluggish from all the processed food. Last night, she finally admitted it. She misses my cooking. I told her I miss my kitchen. She started crying again. Then she said something that floored me. "You're blackmailing me with my own health just to win an argument." At that point, I just shut down. I was done arguing. I know I could suck it up and work around the clutter, but it genuinely kills my motivation to cook when I feel like I'm working in a home decor showroom instead of a proper kitchen. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that the space be functional over cute. So, Reddit, AITA?